Hello, hello. Happy Tuesday. Another training for you guys. Thank you so much for being patient. We were in the middle of podcast and everything, and somebody messaged me and they're like, aren't you supposed to be training right now? I'm like, I guess I am. So, I feel like today is such a really, really powerful training. It's one of my favorite things. I love human brains and how they work, understanding how like human behavior is and how we think. Like, it's so interesting to me, right? How is it that certain colors like give us certain emotions, or when you say one word it can mean something? I heard something the other day that this lady was talking about. I think it was on TikTok. It was so good. She's like, if I had somebody come up to you and cuss you out in Chinese, unless you understand Chinese, and was like yelling at you, cussing you out in Chinese, the words wouldn't really carry that much weight because you don't understand Chinese, right? And I thought that was really, really interesting because our words, regardless of how you say them, they mean different things to different people, right? And understanding how humans work and understanding how human behavior is only going to help you in sales. It's only going to help you, right? So if you are coming in here live, please put hashtag live in here. I'm about to go live on Instagram as well. Let's turn around towards me. Dun, 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 dun. All right. Boom. Yep. Should be a live like that. Oh, there we go. Title. What is this? How to tap into your prospect's brain chemistry to close more deals. Awesome. Yes. Brain chemistry to close more deals. Cool. Boom. All right. Let's go. Awesome. So we're going live in here. Do you change how you present things, whether it's a man and a woman with brain chemistry? Okay, so let's talk about this really fast, because in a sales conversation, based off of what we're doing, we'll release certain neurotransmitters in somebody's brain. And by knowing this, we have to really understand that there's a level of responsibility when it comes to being in a sales conversation. I think that you being in your integrity is really, really important. What's up, guys? JJ's in the house. Hey, let's go. So we're talking about how your prospect's brain chemistry actually changes inside of a sales call. And let me kind of break this down for you, if that's going to be helpful. Is that going to be helpful for anyone? If you understand how to do this, it's a really big game changer for you. But at the same time, you have to remember that this has to be done with integrity, because otherwise you can really mess somebody up. Just so I know, what do you guys sell? Drop in the chat, what do you sell? So I can kind of understand, where this goes. If it's B2B, B2C, let's just drop it down. What's up, guys? Hey. What do you sell? Drop it below so I can understand. Let's make it actually usable for your industry. Luxury vehicles, let's go. Life insurance, real estate, B2C, okay. Solar, all right. Let's go software into multiplicities. I can't even say that word. Fire departments. I need my glasses for that. My God. Munaplicities. I can't say that. It's horrible. It's great. Software. We do a lot of software though. Loans. All right. So there's two main brain chemicals that are active during a sales call. If you know what those brain chemicals are, drop them in the chat below. But we have to skillfully dwell into pain points in the brain as well as pleasure points in the brain in order to create a bonding effect, right? So the serotonin, it's part of serotonin. The two main ones are cortisol and oxytocin, okay, that are happening in our brain, right? Oxytocin, love drug, right? Cortisol, stress hormone. Serotonin, yes, part of oxytocin, right? That's being released in the brain. What happens when you go from serotonin to oxytocin, cortisol to oxytocin back to cortisol, or cortisol to serotonin and back to cortisol? What happens? Somebody said dopamine, Serotonin. Yes, yes, yes. So what happens here when you're going back and forth is that it creates like a bonding effect. It's kind of like if you're ever in a toxic relationship and you have like super passionate, awesome, like love life, everything's great, and you have this crazy serotonin, oxytocin, dopamine effect that's happening, and then you guys go into a fight and serotonin, fight or flight reflex, right? And what happens is that people feel connected to that. A heroin addiction is the same thing, right? Super highs, super lows, right? And you have an addiction to it. Now, why this is useful in a sales conversation. All sales is change. Trying to get somebody to change their habits, change what they've done before, change, right? And my ladies, if feel uncomfortable with this, right? Appreciate you. My ladies, if feel uncomfortable with making somebody feel uncomfortable, you have to realize that if somebody's going to have a breakthrough, they must first always have a breakdown. That's always how it works. There's going to be some level of uncomfortability here, some level of issues here. Do y'all like my desk? My desk is this Louis Vuitton box. It's freaking hilarious. All right. So there has some level of uncomfortability that is happening here. And I have to be able to control that uncomfortability in order for this person to want to change, because humans don't like change. They don't want to change. Most people stay the same. Most people, even though they don't like their boyfriend or girlfriend, they're still with them. Even though they hate their job, they still go there. Even though they hate the way their body looks, they still eat the cookie, right? And I'm not saying anything bad about cookies. I love me my cookies. But doing something new requires uncomfortability. And that's what happens in a sales conversation, regardless of who you're talking to. I don't care if it's B2B, B2C, whatever industry that you're in, you're going to have to play off of somebody's emotions. Everyone has emotional needs. Oh my God, thanks. Everyone has emotional needs, right? Or problems that they're solving. There's nothing that's ever been bought in if it doesn't solve a problem or serve some type of emotional need. Right. And so if I was going to be really skillful in my ability to sell, maybe I could play off of their emotions, right? Because what do people buy with? Do they buy with logic or do you buy with emotions? What do people buy with? Logical, like, hey, that makes sense? Or is it an emotion that makes them buy something? Not everyone at once. Emotions. Thank you, Vanessa. So people need to buy off of emotions. What's up, Susan? So the best way that we can do that is by getting them into emotional states, right? Now, who here has ever had a sales conversation that feels really, really surface level? Super surface level. They're not opening up. Like, we're having a stupid conversation about nothing. It's not about anything, right? And it's because there isn't a big enough pain point, or you're not finding a big enough problem in order for them to go deep. And sometimes people are not willing to open up, which is a whole nother conversation about getting somebody to open up and calling them out. What I'm trying to do in a problem finding state is releasing cortisol in their brain. I want to release the chemical of cortisol in their brain. I want to put them in a fight or flight mode, right? Now that sounds could be a little scary. Like, hey, I want to purposely put somebody in a triggered state, in a fight or flight state. But I want to do this on purpose because I want them to be able to feel uncomfortable enough on the inside to where they feel so internally disturbed that they want to change, that they want something new. And if they don't feel this on the inside of them, right? Do you think that they're going to close with you? Do you think that they're going to commit to this change? Absolutely not. People will make more changes based off of fear, pain, and uncomfortability than based off of pleasure, right? And that's just how our human brains work, right? We like to avoid stuff. We like to avoid pain. We like to avoid, feeling uncomfortable. We're survival mechanisms, right? Survival human beings. Our brains are wired for survival, not for having fun. So how we release the chemical cortisol in the brain is by asking probing questions, right? By asking problem finding questions, by going underneath the surface. I talk about this all the time. Anyone that says any type of problem for you, they're always carrying like a big stinky onion. You have to be able to go underneath the surface, right? So here would be an example of that. Hey, Sally, like, what if you were going to get anything out of this call today? Like, what would that be, just so I can have a better understanding of what's going on here? Kayla, I I'm really frustrated. Let's say I'm selling like a fitness offer, right? I'm really frustrated here because I've been trying to lose 30 pounds for the past year, and nothing that I do, every diet that I do, nothing seems to work. Like, nothing is working. Okay. Now, in that sentence, if I was going to think about like what would be the part that I could start digging into, like what word would have that been, right? Like, hey, Kayla, yeah, I'm really frustrated. I've been trying to lose, 30 pounds for the past year. And I'm like, I've done every single diet and I feel like nothing's working. What word there do you feel like I could start digging into, right? Susan said frustrated. Great. Frustrated. Another thing is that, nothing's working, right? There's two things here. Frustrated, nothing's working, right? Frustrated. Can you go into that a little bit more just so I can understand, right? And I'm peeling off a layer. I'm trying to get her to go more. Now, the way that I release cortisol is I need to make it personal to her. I need to make it personal to her and what's coming up for her. So, what's coming up for you? How do you mean by, when you say this, what did that mean to you? Frustrated, right? Just mirroring the word back to frustrated, letting her elaborate. Yeah, I mean, Kayla, like, I can't tell you, like, I'm starving myself. I'm not getting any results. From here, right? She doesn't give me a lot of words to go off of. So how can I also like dig underneath the surface here? How can I dig? I'm like, like, do you like that you're not getting the results that you're looking for right now? Do you like that you're not losing weight? Well, no, of course I don't like that. Here's another question we could ask, like, how do you feel like that's impacting you personally? Oh my gosh, it's impacting me here. I just feel like, nothing I'm doing is working. I feel like I'm so angry with myself, right? I'm like, oh, angry. It seems like you really care about this. Yeah, it's been really making me upset. Now I'm like, how long has this been happening? She said 3 years. So now I need to figure out who else is this impacting. Like, Sally, can I ask, like, is there anyone else that you feel like this is impacting? Notice that I'm not like trying to drown her in questions here. I'm holding space. Like, I'm calm, cool, and collected. I'm detached. Like, can I ask, like, is this impacting anybody else in your life right now? Yeah, Kayla, it's impacting my son. Summer's coming up and I really want to take him swimming. And I don't even want to get in the pool, and I just feel like I'm going to disappoint him. I feel like I'm a bad mom. Bad mom. Yeah, I feel like I suck. Right? Now, this is not about her losing 30 pounds or like the fact that the diet hasn't worked. This is about her feeling so guilty as a mom because she's not showing up powerfully for her kid. Does that make sense? That's releasing cortisol. Her brain is going, I suck as a mom. I'm guilty. She's releasing cortisol. She's feeling like, oh, and panic. I'm poking at her skills as a mom with intention, with love, right? How is this going to affect your life if it continues? But even more importantly, how is this going to affect your son if this continues? Right? Going one layer deep. When I do this, right, and I'm releasing cortisol in her brain, her body's going in fight or flight. So what I can do from here is that when I move from problem awareness and I go into solution awareness, right, and I start talking about what's possible for her and what solutions she sees, I want to see how she can visualize this. And the way that I can release oxytocin in her brain is the same way that a storyteller can tell a story on stage and it releases oxytocin in the brain of the audience. It's really cool. So I need her to see it. I need her to see this. I need her to visualize this. I need her to be in this, right? So when I start asking her about like what is she's really wanting, right? You know, um, Sally, like, underneath this all, like, I understand that you're wanting to be a better mom for your son and wanting to be there, so you can help swim with him this summer. Can I ask, like, you losing these 30 pounds, like, is that going to be, what's going to allow you to swim? Well, no, I feel like I need to lose like at least 100. Or like, is that the final number that you're wanting to lose? Like, what are you actually trying to do here? Like, if you were in the best shape where you felt like you could be the best mom possible, like, what does that look like? Oh, I would be 100 pounds less than I am right now. And now I need to get her to start visualizing that. Like, can you describe like what that would feel like going to the pool? Are you going to the pool? Or are you going to the beach? Are you in town? Or are you going somewhere else? Right? I'm not asking like that. I'm going to be like, may I ask, like, if this was going to be like the perfect day for you and your son, are you going to be, here in town? Would you travel somewhere? Oh, you would travel somewhere. Where would you go? Would you be in a pool? Would you be in the beach? What bathing suit are you going to be wearing? So you walk out, you're in the bathing suit, it's your sunglasses on. I want her to feel like she's there. I want her to smell the chlorine. I want her to hear the people around her, hear the music that's going on. I want her to taste, that like popsicle that she just had in her mouth, right? Like, I want her to feel it. I want her to be there. I want her to taste it. And when she can see, smell, hear, taste, feel, be there, and really feel like she's a part of that solution, like when she becomes like in it, right? Like oxytocin is being released in her brain, which is so cool. And from here, I want to snap her back to reality. So snapping her back to reality, right? Or talking about certain consequences that are going to happen if she doesn't figure this out. Hey, love. If she doesn't figure this out, right? So I'm going to ask, Sally, like, may I ask, like, how close are you to being able to wear that yellow bikini that you're wanting? And I'm holding space, especially if this is an uncomfortable conversation. I'm not just like going out there and like, well, how close are you? No. Holding space. Like, Sally, how close are you to being able to do that right now? Okay, well, I have no idea. It's going to be a really long time. Look, here's my concern. Have you thought about, possible ramifications of what's going to happen? Like if you don't lose this weight? Well, yeah, this and this is going to happen. This and this is going to happen. Have you thought about what's going to happen with your son? Like with y'all's relationship, right? Bringing her back down to pain, letting her realize her consequences, bringing back into cortisol, back into fight or flight. I'm going into pain, pleasure, pain. I'm creating a bond here. I want to create an experience that she's never been able to experience before because I'm in my integrity. I know I can solve her problem. Now, if I can't solve her problem and I do this, it's really, really wrong of you. By doing this with integrity, by doing this by holding space, I need her to persuade herself on why she needs to move forward. I can't tell her what to do, right? I cannot tell her what to do here. I have to ask her questions, right? Neuro emotional persuasion questioning that allows her to start persuading herself on why she needs to make a change in her life. My concern, right? That's a very feminine thing to do, right? If you're like, hey, like, here's my concern, right? It's like a motherly, like, my concern here. I'm not just like, what are the possible ramifications of what's going to happen? No, I'm like, hey, like, here's my concern. Like, what's going to happen to your son? I have a general interest as to what's going on, right? And when I ask that, her brain is going, what's going to happen to my son? And when she's telling me, she's not only telling me, but she's also persuading herself. She's telling herself what's going to happen, right? Do you think at the end of this conversation, this woman is not going to move forward? I've made her realize the huge consequences are what's going to happen in her life if she does not make a change, if she doesn't do something different. Who's going to be affected? Her kid, her. She's going to feel like a crappy mom. What happens in 5 years? Her kid's going to move on. You have friends, not have a relationship with her. Do you think that she wants to go to another life with that? No, absolutely not. You have to make it personal. It doesn't matter what you're selling. People all have emotional needs. And if you can allow yourself to ask the right questions at the right time, have a really great tonality that makes them feel safe, and you're detached from this, it's going to change everything for you. I just did a podcast on this today. If you're not following my podcast, it's Closing Deals and Heels. It's absolutely epic. You need to listen to it. Would love some ideas on that. Also looking for really amazing women that are like crushing it in sales right now that I can interview on there. When you are realizing what's happening with this economy right now, thanks, Susan. I love you. When you're realizing what happens with this economy right now, you would be really, really, it would be in your best interest to be acquiring better skills right now. The entire shift of the economy, right? Recession's coming. Like the lay down sales are not going to be there anymore. And if you have an old style of sales training, or you think that you're going to get by just like having the best product or whatever, or just having laydowns, like it's not going to be there anymore. Your ability to have real sales training, to actually understand the right questions to ask at the right time, that uses human behavior, that allows people to persuade themselves, that does not feel pushy or manipulative or out of alignment for you, is going to be everything. In the next 4 or 5 months, if you do not have the skills, your sales closing ratios are going to go way down, because people are going to start hoarding onto their money because recession's coming. It's here. And if you don't know how to ask questions that get people to persuade themselves, there's no way that they're going to release the money that they have and give it to you, right? It's just not what's going on. What are some good industries to work on? I just got laid off. Solar, insurance. Insurance is a $1 trillion industry. A 7th Level has an insurance company. DM me and ask me for a 7th Level application page, and I'll send that over to you. I love coaching businesses, to be able to get on just like calls, but I just feel like solar and insurance are a lot more like longevity plays, right? Career-based plays, especially insurance, because you get passive income. It's just a little bit harder to get that going, right? If you are in here and, you need help in your sales skills, right? You actually want to get training that's specifically made for women by women, that's going to teach you in a way that feels authentic and alignment for you, using NEPQ, using neuro emotional persuasion questioning. Just DM me the word NEPQ Red, and we'll send you a link in order to be able to get on a call with us, right? NEPQ Red, send you that link. You are so worthy of making the money that you want. I'm really sick and tired of seeing so many women struggle. It really sucks. You don't have to struggle so much with sales. Yeah, absolutely. You don't have to struggle so much. Like it's just about learning a skill set. It's kind of like you're getting frustrated because, you moved to France and you can't speak Spanish or you can't speak French. Like you need to get a tutor. You need to have somebody sit with you and actually learn. You need to be put in an environment where you're going to succeed. You're going to succeed with French easier in France than you would here, right? It's just about being put in the right environment and getting the right mentor, the right coach to be able to help you, Susan is one of my clients. She says it's been life-changing, being NEPQ Red with me. Love you, Susan. You're amazing. Super grateful for you. All right. I honor you guys. Go check out the podcast. DM me NEPQ Red if you want to get on a sales call with us. I appreciate you. Grateful for you too. And if you need anything from me, my team, we're here. I love you guys. Hope this was actually useful for you. If you're not in our Women in Sales Facebook group, please make sure you join there. What's up, guys? All right. See you soon. Bye.